Alrighty, episode 50 of the Paws Up Podcast, the Big 50. I am your host, Kevin Brawl, and I am here joined by my good friend and co-hosts, Jake Gibson, Jonathan Mayer. Fellas, we did it. Episode 50. We're halfway through to 100 and a very long way to 200. But what's up, guys? We have a very, very special guest, someone who we've been trying to coordinate, try to get him for weeks, and we finally were able to get this time slot in here. But Jake, Johnny, how you doing?
Man, my goodness, we're 50 episodes in. This was like such a dream for us way back in late 2022 when we started this thing up. But the support has been absolutely insane. We also literally just hit 500 followers on Twitter or X, however you want to call it. That's super cool as well. We can't thank you all enough for all the support. And we've just had the pleasure to have so many cool guests on the show over the years. You know, we've had our good buddy, the AD Scott Carr. We've had players and coaches from sport after sport. We even had the gosh darn president of FIU on the show. That's super sick. But we just can't wait to see how this show evolves as we eventually do hit episode 100 in 2029. But before we get there, we have, like you said, we have a cool one today. Jeff Liquori, FIU baseball, going on that baseball train we're on right now, having all these awesome players on as we ramp up for opening day, which is like only weeks away at this point.
Hey, we're like what, a little bit over 2 weeks away from opening day. So Johnny, what's up? This is the perfect guy to bring onto the podcast for you because you saw him in summer ball. So what's up? And if you want to introduce our guest.
Yeah, obviously. I think we're like either 18 days, I think it is specifically. Well, we're getting close, but yeah, obviously a great guest to have, and Jeffy, who I saw play in summer ball, and couple of the games that he was playing against my team, I think he had a 2 home run game. Like, he was mashing and hitting really well. And now he comes over to FIU, and somebody who has a cool story, Division II, now in Division I, but somebody that will be a lot surprising a lot of people. And I think it'll be a huge impact with his bat here in 2024. So super excited to have Jeff on.
Jeff, what's up? Welcome to the podcast. We're excited to have you, man.
No, what's up? Thanks for being on number 50. Halfway there. Let's go.
Let's do it. So I think we have to start with the most obvious question. Just the first time you remember kind of playing baseball as a kid. And, just to tie it into the next question, when did you decide that this was for you? Baseball was what you wanted to do and you wanted to move on with?
So, my first word was ball. So as I kind of knew that was a sign.
Like that ass?
Yeah, I swear. First word was ball.
Wow.
And my dad grew up as a big Yankees fan, and he pitched in college, and he kind of introduced me to pitching, and that's what I stuck to. Like, I never really picked up a bat. When I was little, yeah, but in high school, I never hit. Growing up, I never really hit growing up. And now I went to college to pitch, and that didn't work out. And then I picked up a bat my sophomore year, and now we're here. So kind of interesting story, but that's how it's.
Oh, I guess I didn't even know I'm next. But just talk a little about your time playing baseball. What position did you start playing at a young age, and what did you decide to kind of now looking at it ahead to playing in the outfield here in college?
So growing up, I actually played shortstop. Like, growing up as a lefty, you don't see a lefty shortstop nowadays.
No,
so
not
growing
really.
up, I used to be really good at that. So that was my main position, and then obviously that took away from me going on the big field and doing all that. So I started pitching, and I was pretty good at that. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go pitch at the college level. And my first year wasn't really the greatest at Florida Southern, and my coach was like, maybe try hitting, and I just stuck from there. But
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, we always like to ask this question to the baseball players, but as you were growing up and getting more and more involved with the sport, who were some players in the big leagues, either current or former, that you sort of looked up to, maybe based some styles of either of pitching, batting, whatever? Like, just who are the players that you really just grew up admiring?
I know who this is. Yeah, never mind. Go ahead.
It's Derek Jeter. So I'm a Yankees fan, growing up, he's just the leadership the guy brought to the pro, the MLB, and just looking up to him growing up. Mm-hmm. My favorite number was 2 because of him, and just playing shortstop for the New York Yankees. That's always who doesn't want to do that? But right now, so I'm a hitter. I like guys like Michael Harris on the Braves. He's a great hitter. like I can see my comp from him to me. Robinson Cano was always a Yankee legend until he got, busted for doing whatever he did. And then pitching side, I didn't really have a comp because it was I was my own thing. Like I wasn't really throwing the hardest, but so, I mean, now hitting, it's just those couple guys like Michael Harris and Robinson Cano. So
you said your jersey number was number 2 in honor of Derek Jeter, but now it's 28. So when did that change? And is there any inspiration for 28?
Okay, so at Florida Southern, I was number 6. That was my secondary favorite number. And iconically, 8 minus 2 is 6, but they don't go in order. So that's how I kind of look at it. So it's kind of meant to be. But I mean, I like with 28. Matt Olson on the Braves is a really good hitter, so I can kind of relate to him a little bit.
So now let's talk a little about your high school career. I think the one thing that stands out when you look at it is, you were teammates with a legend at LSU, Dylan Cruz, who's now, I think, just got invited to spring training.
Yeah.
So obviously, he's a guy who is ascending. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes his debut this year. But talk a little about that. Obviously, Grayson Moore, who's now prospect with the Cubs, you played with. Talk a little more about getting to play with Dylan Cruz and being able to be on a really good team at Lake Mary High School.
Yeah, so I've known Dylan since I was 8 years old. So growing up with him it was a pleasure to be around him. Like he's the most humblest kid I've ever met. Never too cocky about what he does. He does everything like when no one's watching. Like that kid would be hitting from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning and no one will know. And that's just what makes him who he is. And I actually had the experience to hit with him over this past summer and the winter a little bit. And it's the same kid that I knew when I was 8, just humble. And high school, he would show up to the field, not talk to anybody, just be himself and get working. And then you saw he got drafted in the first round this past year.
It was what, the second pick of the draft. So
yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, you still could be in touch with him then.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And what are things that you learned from him? Obviously, you're the same age, but obviously he's the professional. What are things that you've touched away from his professionalism and also playing with him as well? He
just kept it simple. He said he just went out there and knew who he was as a player and didn't try to get too big in a situation where obviously you're playing in the SEC at LSU, like that's the biggest stage out there. And he just gave me advice: just do you and just be yourself. Like you're not going to be better than what you already are. So that's all I can say to other people. What he passed down to me. So
obviously coming up to high school, just kind of want to get, what teams kind of were offering you, and then eventually what made you decide to go to the Division II level?
So out of high school, I had no offers really. Just Florida Southern, they offered me a very little scholarship to go pitch. And I mean, I hit a little bit in high school, but it wasn't to a point where I can get recruited to hit. So it was either Florida Southern or the JUCO route. And I chose to go where historically the best Division II program out there. They had a ex-MLB player as their head coach and Lance Negro. And I mean, they welcomed me the best. And I felt like that was my best fit.
So talking a bit more about Florida Southern, I believe they're called the Mocs. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, the Mocs. Spent 3 years there, but in your first year, it was something super interesting. You were a two-way player. So I just got to know, just how was that like? What made you decide to be a two-way player when joining, and just what was that arsenal looking like?
So at first, I got there to pitch, and my coach was like, yeah, we don't have the room for you to hit. So okay, I'm going to focus on pitching. And to be honest, the pitching thing was just not my thing. Like the arm care, the just constantly throwing, and you get to master your craft really. And I wasn't there yet. And my first couple starts, I let up a lot of home runs and hard hit balls, and that just wasn't the confidence I wanted going into pitching. And it just never really clicked for me. But then he offered me to hit, and I fell in love with just hitting home runs. And I was never the biggest or the strongest, but I had the tools to hit home runs. And they're like, yeah, we can fix you up and get you to the level you want to get to. And that's what happened.
So let's kind of go through the rest of your career here at Florida Southern. Just take us through what are some of the biggest things you learned from your time at the Division II level. And I guess we asked this to Keyshawn on the last episode, but we asked him there's players that obviously take the JUCO route, and at the end of the day, they end up having a lot of success. Some go to Division One, just like Keyshawn just did. But for you, why would you say maybe sometimes the Division Two level? Although everyone wants to play D1 baseball, why would you say sometimes in this case the Division Two level maybe is the right way to go to eventually have success? Because I mean, at the end of the day, there are a lot of Division Two players that go on to go to the major leagues.
So Division Two, like I was in the best conference out there. Like SSC is pretty much the SEC of Division One, and you get a lot of D1 bounce backs that go to Division Two level in our conference, and it was basically facing everybody's best every time we played. And the D2 level coming to the D1 level is nothing different. It's just the same game of baseball. So I mean, I didn't see any difference other than just preparing yourself the right way and knowing that there are going to be better people and then that's basically it. Just go in there and just be confident, really.
There we go. Obviously for you, had a dominating, season last year with Florida Southern, hitting over 300, double-digit in home runs and RBIs, and one of the, top players in Division Two. And with that, obviously, before you went to FIU, you played in summer ball. Obviously, you were with the Florida League, which I was also, helping to be intern a part of. And you were there for 3 seasons. 2022, you were an MVP of the league. And this past year, still, you put really, really good numbers. But what is it like playing in Florida, in a summer league, collegiate summer league baseball league? We talked with Ryan about that. It's a wooden bat, but you really were able to carry and produce numbers. But what was it like being able to use that to help your game grow, over the summer and get more games in and more at bats?
So in the Florida League, you see everyone's in Florida. So you're going to see guys freshmen at big schools that can't get into the other leagues. And I feel like that was the best thing for me, seeing these guys that already developed and got the opportunity to play D1 baseball out of high school, and me being at a Division II school and experience what that D1 level is like. And over summer, I realized, I can play a D1 baseball. And it just put in my mind that I can, leave my other school and come to FIU and perform the same way or even better. So
I guess I want to ask you this. Sorry, Johnny, but I do want to ask you just what would you say is the biggest difference between the wooden bat and the aluminum bat?
Wooden bat, you don't have as much give as a metal bat. You can get jammed in metal and still get it out of the infield. Wood bat, that thing's going to break right on contact, and you're not going to get the best results as wood gives you as metal. So, I personally like wood bat better because you see results. You're not going to hit a ball and it's going to go out with a metal bat. It's completely different. But
and I was going to say also with a couple guys on the team, Jaquan Smith, Jacob McKenzie also were in the Florida League, and so much talent. I think you talk about it, and some names probably wouldn't people know, but we had guys from UCF, FSU, Vanderbilt, so many guys that were talented. And a lot of it was, you were saying to Jeff, is you saw the potential that you had playing at the summer league, and it showed, hey, I can play the D1 level, and here you are now, going to be a big bat for FIU.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Kevin, for the 50th time, I think it's time for a news break.
I think it is.
Then let's get right into it. This is the Paws Up podcast news break, your source for all things FIU athletics and just FIU in general. So let us start off with FIU baseball conveniently. As we now know the full extent of former FIU Panthers that will be competing in the Caribbean series that's going to start this Thursday at Lone Depot Park in Little Havana. Last week we had mentioned Edwin Rios for Team Puerto Rico, but now we know that Irving Lopez will represent Team Mexico, and J.C. Escara will also be representing Team Puerto Rico. And while it's not 100% confirmed, as they are still finalizing their roster, it's likely that Juan Teixeira will be representing Team Venezuela. So in any event, lots of former Panthers we will see this upcoming Thursday and throughout that weekend over at Lone Depot Park in the Caribbean Series. Now, moving on to football, where we announced not that long ago we found out that not that long ago, former FIU wide receiver Tyrese Chambers announced that he has declared for the NFL draft. Now we know, according to ML Football, among other sources, that Chambers has heard from the Seattle Seahawks, Dallas Cowboys, and Jacksonville Jaguars about potentially being drafted in late April. Chambers had a very solid 2-year stint with the Panthers, racking up over 1,000 yards in 2021 before transferring to Maryland last year. And here's some cool just FIU news. Last week, none other than Bad Bunny stopped by FIU to share some wisdom with some students here at the FIU. The critically acclaimed Puerto Rican rapper stopped by the Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism in the Biscayne Bay campus last Friday to share some advice and talked about his experience with professional David Grutman. As part of the David Grutman experience, this is a class for students to get advice and inspiration from renowned stars to start their own hospitality platform. Bad Bunny, I'm not 100% sure if he actually sang anything or not, but still, he now joins the likes of Drake, Jason Momoa, and Rick Ross in regards to people who have stopped by Professor Grutman's class. Here's a bonus story for Newsbreak. It was announced by our very own Kevin Barral on Twitter, or X, however you name it, that FIU outside linebackers coach Anthony Gator will be taking over for DeMarcus Van Dyke, who recently left to the University of South Florida, and will become the brand new cornerbacks coach of FIU. Of course, Anthony Gator, a former defensive back for the Panthers. This does mean that FIU football will have to fill out the outside linebackers coaching vacancy now, but still very cool that the former FIU Panther coaching what he used to play for the team. So that was your very brief news break. So, Liquori, let's get back into things. Let's talk a bit more about the journey to FIU. Okay, so obviously from the state of Florida, went to Florida Southern. But aside from that, why'd you pick FIU? Was it just location-wise because they had offered? Was there anything else to it?
So it was a long process. Being a 3-year student at a Division II private school, my credits were a big issue to go anywhere, like to any other big school. And I had multiple other schools reach out, like day by day. And then Rich Witten hit me up and was like, all right, like, we want you here. And I sent over my transcripts, and he first told me that it might not work, as all the other schools told me. And I'm like, okay, like maybe I made the wrong decision by transferring. And then he came back a week later and said, okay, we got you in. And this is the only school I could get into. And this was like late July, and school is right around the corner. So I'm like, do I go back to where I was and not have a better chance to get drafted, or come here and, perform and do well and boost my chances even more? So I just made that decision and went with my only place I can get into, and I haven't regretted it since.
How close were you to staying at the D2 level?
Not close at all. I personally don't think I would have loved it as much as I do here, because I've been through it for 2 straight years, and I feel like I needed more experience and more competition for myself.
Talk to us a little bit about your first impressions of, not only the school, the campus itself, which we'll get into later, but just the team in general. I mean, there was a lot of turnover going from 2022 to 2023. A lot of guys left, if it was either due to the transfer portal, graduating, out of eligibility. But you guys brought in a lot of new guys. I mean, yourself, Keyshawn Brylan, Jacob McKenzie. I mean, a lot of more pitching. This is a team that looks completely different.
Mm-hmm.
What have been your initial impressions, not only of FIU, but just the Division I level itself? Obviously, you've yet to face an actual team that isn't, your own teammates. But from what you've seen from them in terms of the pitching or anything that you may have noticed now at the Division I level, what are some things you've noticed?
Everything is well organized. Like, coming from a Division II, we had certain hours where we could, be at the field, since it's a private school and our field was off campus. So I couldn't have access at nights like I do now. And just everything is practice. It was well ran. Everything was different. Like, there's high intensity. Like, at my old school, it was just a lot, just laid back and do what you got to do to be better. And it's no more hands on. And I got here, and Rich just implemented that right on the spot. Like, we're going to be hands on with you. Like, we're going to make you better day by day. And I have seen that a lot. And the weight training is 100 times better than one I had before. I've already put on 15 pounds from being here, which is great. So everything has just it's just a higher level of knowledge, I think. And it just makes D2 to D1. And that's what everyone's been saying.
I'm pretty sure Keyshawn said the exact same thing when we had him on the show last week about availability and ease of access and how important that is to sort of honing your skills and sort of developing new ones here. So it's cool to see that FIU does, in fact, provide that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I know you talked a little about, coming here to FIU, and obviously we all got to see you in depth, this off season and the fall, and now a little bit here in the winter, and now in full team practices. But what were things that you were working on in your first, fall and off season here at FIU, and it's now implementing slowly here in team practice and ramping up for the season starting?
So in the fall, I had a pretty successful fall, I think, and since the velo is a lot higher now, from Division II to D1, it's consistent. I think I was struggling on staying tight with my swing instead of, all right, like a D2 I can get away with being long because the pitching is not as consistent. And I talked to Rich about this, and he was like, stay tight and you'll succeed at this level. And my first inter squad, like, it just showed that what he was telling me is like helping me be a better hitter. And that's just what I stuck with the whole offseason and winter, and it's showing right now. So
You hit the walk-off the other day on Saturday, so certainly shows.
And obviously for you, go on.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Oh, it's my no, obviously, you talk a little about, off season, and, one thing around the corner, and I know something that is on a lot of the mind for the seniors here is obviously the MLB draft. How are you preparing for that, obviously, and what are some things that maybe you're learning, in the process of hopefully getting drafted to professional team, and, this is a big year for you to take that step.
So last year I had the opportunity to go to a couple pro workouts and experience that level of intensity. And I was told by my advisor that we could have a chance to get drafted late this year, but Division II held that against me because there was no data to back my stats up. And I was told that that's the main issue, and they like to look at that stuff, and teams go by data now, and we didn't have any. So coming here, like the first day I got here, they're like, okay, we have data on you. And I think that's just going to be the main – I mean, obviously I got to perform the way I've been doing, but they have that data now to go back it up. So hopefully it all works out in my favor.
So how big would you say this season is for you as, just in terms of draft stock and possibility to get drafted, no matter where it is, just go to a major league organization? How big is it for you?
I'm going to treat it as like my make or break year. Like it's my first year here. It's going to be my last year of college baseball regardless. So I'm going to have fun with it, but I'm not going to stress out about it. Like I know what I'm capable of doing. So I'm just going to go in there. Like, I mean, it's my last year. Like I'm not going to take that like lightly, but it's going to be a fun year. Like I'm with my brothers that I met 7 months ago, and they're already like best friends to me, and just have fun. Like that's all I'm going to go into it.
So on a scale of like 1 to lights out, this season is going to be
lights out! Lights out!
Wow. It was that plug was so great that Kevin disappeared.
He's gone.
He's vanished. Okay. Well, thankfully I had the next question lined up here. So, Jeff, you're only going to get 1 year of Conference USA action. And admittedly, the conference has changed quite a bit in the span of a year. But I got to know, what have you noticed from the outside looking in about Conference USA? Of course, you have Dallas Baptist, who just came in and already had an amazing first season here. And aside from them, are there any other teams that really stand out to you early on?
Well, obviously, we all know Nolan Shanwell, who got drafted out of FAU last year.
Yes.
And that stood out. I have a lot of friends that go to FAU, go to La Tech, and I mean, like Rich tells us all the time, like this is a top 7 baseball conference in D1. Like you have the Power 5, and then you have 6 and 7. And that's what we are. And I feel like performing at this level is going to be tough. But like, I mean, like there's good teams. There's going to be good pitching. Like Dallas Baptist is really good. I know La Tech is pretty dang good too. So, I mean, it's just, I mean, at the end of the day, it's baseball. Like you got to do what you got to do to perform. But no, I'm excited for the Conference USA this year with the new teams we got and all that.
Yeah. So, the other day I saw you kind of pick it a little bit at first base. Didn't know you had that in you, to be honest. I knew you'd played first base, but is that somewhere where we could expect you to see you play sometime this year? I mean, we know you have Guida there, Brylan, and you have Figgy over there, but you do have the experience, and it does help in terms of depth and versatility.
Yeah, so I played first base my 2 years at Southern. I don't know if you guys knew that, and then they moved me to the outfield just because it would boost my draft stock, but it was a little too late for that. And I guess here it's just going to be more of a spot start, so we can get like the best bats in our lineup, and I'm totally fine with that. So it'll be center field, right field, and first base for this year. So you'll be seeing me mixing in at every spot. Maybe on the mound, but not too sure about that one.
Have you thrown at all done any
I
pitching
haven't
stuff?
stepped on the pitching mound since my sophomore year of college. So
What's the arsenal?
Ooh.
my pitches,
Yeah.
I have 2-seam, 4-seam. I got curveball, slider, and I have a knuckleball. So
Oh, we don't see that anymore.
I would say though, we have enough two-way guys. I think I know Trayson and Andrew.
we were pretty good two-way guys. I don't think I'm as good as they are. So when it comes to the mound, but
Gotcha.
Yeah, I did want to circle back and talk a bit more about the schedule, because like you alluded to, FAU non-conference opponent, but still a very high quality opponent. There are a lot of really interesting non-conference opponents that FIU is going to be taking on this season. Of course, you have FGCU, you have Iowa, Long Island to start off the season. You have Wofford there towards the back end. Just who are some of the non-conference opponents that you're really excited, especially at the D1 level, to really see what they can do?
I mean, week 2 we have Notre Dame, so I mean, I'm stoked about that one. Like, it's Notre Dame. Like you're gonna see the best of the best there. And actually, relating back to Dylan Cruz here, he played Iowa last year, and Brody Breck, one of the best pitchers out there now, and just he was telling me just like these guys are gonna be the best of the best. So like, you know how like they're gonna be good, and I'm excited for that one late in the year. So.
Yeah, it's the final series too.
Mm-hmm. And Miami, of course. Like we play them.
Yeah. Go ahead, Johnny. What are you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say no. I think I told Ryan this. It's like it's the oddest non-con because it's like it's the last series of the year. You're already know your fate in the conference tournament. So essentially, it's one of those games where it's to boost your team's RPI, and depending on how the season goes on, it could be a really important series to maybe a chance for an at-large bid. You never know. So I'm intrigued by that series. I think.
Yeah, and even they might have a chance to play for something too for their
spoiler or something.
And they're going to be throwing their best of the best and playing their best of the best. So it's going to be fun playing that powerhouse of a school.
Have you look at this rivalry with Miami? Do you guys consider it a rivalry? I know this is your first year at FIU, but last year kind of felt like that first year, and maybe, Jake and Johnny could probably attest to this. They've been here longer than I have, but kind of felt like the rivalry that we've been wanting. I mean, not to throw
dying for.
You guys have lost 10 straight against the U. So, it's definitely, it kind of feels like this is a year where there is a chance. You guys got walked off last year. There was a 9-inning blow up, and then I think the other two were run rules, but still have a chance. So, how much do you guys talk about Miami?
We don't really talk about the U much around here. It's not a topic because obviously it's Miami and we're in Miami. So I mean, I knew about it, like the rivalry, but I didn't know how serious it was till I got here. And like I know kids on the team are friends with guys at Miami, and like they still talk. But like when it's on the field, like it's a rivalry. And I've been part of a pretty good rivalry at Florida Southern versus University of Tampa, and we were best friends with those guys off the field. But when it came on the field, it's a different environment, and I feel like that's how it is going to be here.
With University of Tampa is pretty nice, right? For the most part, the facilities and all that. You've been there, right? Yeah. Yeah. They're one of the D2 powerhouses, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so. I'm pretty sure they're going D1 soon, like Nova.
Are they?
Nova's D1 like next year, so
they should, because those are programs for the most part that not just at baseball, but overall they've had a lot of
success.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is a question I asked Keyshawn, and it's probably a hard question to answer, but this is a team that from 2022 to 2023 saw the win total go up. Now, you guys come here to 2024. I would say this is one of the better teams. This is right now the best team Coach Witten has had. I know it's 2 years, but you look at the turnover and how much additions you guys made. More power, more depth. The pitching is a lot better. What do you guys need to do in 2024 to have more success than this last year in 2023?
I just feel like what I've heard, everyone's just bought in. Like we have a standard here, and I feel like we're all just buying in. And every program has 90% of the team that's bought in is going to succeed and win. And our goal is to win 35 games, and I feel like we can get above that mark this year just by what I've seen, and everyone's clicking. Like, we're all on the same terms. We all have the same motivation, the same like mindset. So I feel like we have a good chance to be really good this year.
All right.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, 35 wins would be fun. I'm pretty sure that's what
it'll change the whole recruiting class too. Like, people would want to come here.
Mhm.
Like, I've seen in the past, FIU hasn't been the greatest at baseball. So, and the coaches, I mean, Rich is an amazing coach. Like, they had Merv, whatever, for how long, and it's not been the greatest of hearing, but you know, we can change it this year.
Yeah, Jake and Johnny could attest to that too.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We sat through those years, but yeah, it's nice to see a lot of hope surrounding opening day. A lot of hype, just a lot more hype on social media than there's been for a while, and that is a great sign. And it's well deserved. That should be a fun series against Long Island.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of the more fun rapid fire questions, as we like to do here near the tail end of the show. Let's start off with, what is your pre-game ritual and or any superstitions that you have leading up to a game?
I always have to get Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I don't know if that's weird or not, but no matter what day or time it is, it has to be Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know why. It's just something I've been doing since my sophomore year. My roommate actually introduced it to me, and he was like, just get a coffee, dude. Like, and I hit 2 home runs that game. So it's just
there you go.
I stuck to for my whole hitting career, at least. So
what's the order?
Yeah.
It's a medium caramelized coffee, cream and sugar. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, they have one. They have a Dunkin' Donuts here on campus. So
yeah, they do.
You're
Sometimes
good
it's
to
not
go.
the greatest though, but
Oh yeah, it's at PG5, right? I want to say
Yeah.
PG5.
PG5. All right, you're up, Johnny.
I am up. What's my question for you? My question is, obviously, we talked about summer ball. We both were there in the Florida League. What is your favorite summer ball game or moment, or whatever stood out to you in your 3 years in the Florida League?
You know, to be honest, it was actually this past summer when I made my return to Sanford.
The two home run game, yeah.
I went 4 for 5 with, I think, 6 RBIs, and that was like my return home. And I was like welcomed and booed by the fans there. So, I mean, it was cool though. It was like one of those experiences that I'll never experience again, because it was such a late decision for me to go play for the River Rats rival, really. And it was awesome. Like, I loved having that experience in my career there. So
I remember that. I think it was like a 20 to 4 or something. It was
that was first loss of the year too. So
yeah, it was our first loss.
Yeah,
We were the best team. We were the best team, Sanford, and then it was downhill from there.
Yeah.
I think this is a hard question because there's a lot of guys for this answer, but I know who Brylan and Keyshawn said, but who's the funniest player on the baseball team?
I mean, if I want to be boring, I will say Brylan.
Okay.
Okay, interesting.
A boring pick.
Because everyone chooses him, you know, like you guys.
Oh, no one's
I don't
chosen
think so.
No. Yeah.
Nobody's
Everyone
chosen.
wants to go with Owen.
Owen is another level of funny too. Ronnie Medina is probably one of the funniest guys.
There we go.
I mean,
All right,
Guido
cool.
too. Like you have so many characters, Guido, Ronnie, all those guys. But if I had to choose, it'd probably be Ronnie.
I don't know if you saw that. I think we posted that little video of the Taylor Swift song, and he went off. He was like doing his own little Bad Bunny little skit.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude for sure.
All right, you're up, Jake.
Yeah. So, again, getting sort of accustomed to this campus. Obviously, you found your spot in Dunkin' Donuts with that pregame ritual. But aside from that, what would you say are some of your favorite spots to either hang out or grab some food?
I haven't really experienced the Miami food yet, but I mean Chipotle. Everyone doesn't go wrong with some Chipotle.
Not even on campus. It's not even on campus.
I know. On campus though, probably Chick-fil-A and Tropical Smoothie or Tropical Cafe, whatever it's called.
I forgot.
We always go there after Lyft or before Lyft, so that's probably the
spot. You guys do
it's right there. It's like it's right, you know.
Okay. And then 8th Street, when the food's good, it's a great spot to hang out.
Yeah,
Facts. Absolutely.
yeah.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned Chipotle.
The lines are out the door, but other than that, it's sometimes pretty good.
Yeah.
Johnny and I went there today, but I forgot. You know, now that you mentioned Chipotle, Johnny said that Chipotle is overrated.
No, you're crazy.
Well, I haven't been there. I have never been to
You've been
Chipotle.
there?
How can you say
That's
it's
the thing,
overrated
too.
when you haven't
He's
been?
never been to Chipotle.
What do you get then? What's your like meal if you like for Chipotle? Do you go
I've
to
never
Moe's?
been to Chipotle. I never like if I have gone, there's something else next door that I'll eat, but I never been to Chipotle. I don't know.
Have you
It's
been
weird,
to
bro.
Moe's?
Look, I've never
I've
been
been
to
to Moe's,
Chipotle,
yes,
but
I've
I
been
don't
to
say
Moe's.
it's overrated.
Not overrated.
I think I've never been there, so I'm just making that case. So
Dang, that's a hot take right there.
yeah, it is.
You're gonna get some hate
Really?
for that.
I will
Really
get
bad
that.
take.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who said it? Alex Sanchez was the one I said it to, and he was upset by that.
and he was just as stunned as Jeff is.
Yeah. All right, Jeff.
All right.
what's your
Well,
thoughts,
here's a
to
super
hang
fun
out?
question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have my question, man. Come on.
Okay, go for it.
what's-
Kevin. Go for it.
What's your favorite spot to hang out on campus? That's not your dorm. Everyone says your dorm. We need to spice it up.
Baseball locker room.
Well,
It's a nice locker room.
Yeah.
It's
No,
a
it
great
is.
locker room. We
Yeah,
have TVs, we have speakers, we have everything that you can have 5 people there and just have the best time of your life, really. So baseball locker
There
room.
you go. All right.
What's the who's getting the Oxford in the locker room with music? Who's the
It honestly depends on the people in there, but normally it's either Orlando, Dookie. He always plays songs. Brendan Rooney a lot, always hops on there. Nicholas Patelli, Nicky P. But those are the only guys that I'm around in the locker room that can play music. Sometimes me, depends on how the mood is.
Yeah, what's the playlist?
Rod Wave. I don't know if you guys are big Rod Wave fans, but
is that signs to come for your walk up song though? I don't know if you want to tell us or
my walk-up song is completely different.
So you're to hold that till opening day. You're saying
you already the shirt a walk up song on here?
You want me to play it or no?
Or no? Do you want to play it?
No, you guys can. It's "Run This Town" by Rihanna and Jay-Z. So
okay.
Okay.
right in the beginning.
Is that you always had that walk up song, or this is you
So my sophomore year is when I started doing it. My first year hitting, and I just liked how it was walking up to the plate with the beat, and it just fit me. So I kept it for 3 straight years.
Dope.
There we go. Now we know February 16th. What's Jeff Liquori's walk up song is?
You'll hear it.
There you go. I guess this is another instance of Paws Up breaking news. That's super.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
dope.
Yeah.
So here's a fun question that I want to say every baseball player we've had on, they always have a different answer. But if you could have an at bat with any pitcher in Major League Baseball, both past and present, who would it be, and how do you think you would do?
Do I want myself to succeed, or is it just something that
I would hope you would want yourself to succeed, but
for I want to face Garrett Cole. I don't know why.
Damn.
That'd
Okay.
be something.
Fun. Unanimous.
I saw him pitch in person, and I was thinking to myself, like, can I hit this? Like, am I going to be able to at least come close?
I think if you take a fastball down the middle, I think you can hit something.
I think I could too. So I mean, I would love to have that experience to face Garrett Cole.
What's the approach?
So what would be your game plan though? Like,
I know he attacks with the fastball really early, and he has a pretty good cutter. So I think for my sake, I'd back off the plate a little bit and try to adjust to that cutter. But if I see the fastball early in the count, I'm just going to attack to it.
Again,
we've heard Randy Johnson. We've heard Shohei Ohtani. We've heard a lot of
Nolan Ryan. Guida said.
Nolan Ryan.
Yeah. I'm going more.
Keyshawn said Randy Johnson. That's what he said.
I just don't like facing lefties. So
okay.
Keyshawn said Randy Johnson. Brylan said Shohei, and Guida said Nolan Ryan.
Okay.
So I guess I do want to ask. This is actually probably I don't know how much of an interesting question maybe, but like you obviously you're a player and you play almost most of the time, but when you're watching it as a fan, how different is that experience? What from like maybe a normal fan? Like, do you see the game any differently from the stands or?
I actually do. I look for people's body language a lot and like what they do. Like I watch an outfielder, for example, like Aaron Judge. For everyone loves that guy. You watch him in between innings, or you watch him during the game. Like he's always on time with his feet. He's communicating to the other outfielders. Like that's just the type of guy that I, as a fan, like I watch that type of stuff. Like as a normal fan, like who's gonna hit the next home run? Like I'll watch like just on deck routines and all that type of little stuff that people don't know about.
There we go.
That's super dope. We have a lot of cool uniforms here at FIU baseball. I'd like to know, out of all of them, there's like 5 or 6. I want to say which one are you most excited to wear?
The blue pinstripes for sure.
The blue ones.
Yes.
Is that the one with what does it say? Blue pinstripe, like the baby
No.
blue ones.
No.
I can grab one. It's right here behind me. So
Here,
Go
let's
for it, go for
if you want to take it, show us.
right back.
Well, while he's getting that, let's take this time to conveniently say thank you to everyone who has been a fan of the show for these last technically 50.5 episodes of the Paws Up Podcast.
Ah,
There it is.
There we go. You like
That's
those?
beautiful.
Those are your favorite? That's your favorite uniform?
This is the one I want to wear. During the blue and gold series, I didn't get a chance to wear it, so I want to wear that one.
Do you like the what's the ones? Everyone's talking about the baby blue ones.
The baby blue ones are really dope. There's a cookies and cream run that is like gray and has like
yeah.
I've never heard it described as cookies and cream before, but now I can kind of see it. Yeah.
Now, but I love pinstripes. I never wore pinstripes. Being a Yankees fan, pinstripes are just what I like, and that's the one I want to wear. So,
how about the one for we wore for the media day shoot, content day? Remember those? The
white pinstripes.
The white ones too are nice. I like those.
Those are my second favorite behind the blue one. So
there we go.
It may be a weird question, but have you worn the baby blue pants?
Have not.
Oh.
Those are the ones
Okay,
with no
apparently
No
they
belt,
say
yeah.
they're like pajamas.
Yeah,
you
they
can't
look like
wear a
pajamas.
belt.
Yeah.
So that's why
I'm hoping for a Vice jersey this year, though. So hopefully we can.
I wish.
Johnny, do you have the scoop?
I wish I did. I did.
Man. Ugh. All right.
All right,
Well-
Jake, start to wrap us up here.
Yeah.
Now let's get another question.
Another quick question. Who's winning the World Series, Jeff?
Ooh. Or
The
Super
World
Bowl.
Series here.
Super Bowl, you mean?
Okay, well, let's start with Super Bowl.
Yeah.
because that's the
Super
more-
Bowl. Well, I wanted the Ravens to win, but that one was out of luck. I want to see the Chiefs win. Like Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent.
Again.
I mean, you got to give it to him. He's brought that team from ground zero, and look what he's doing now. But I'm gonna go Chiefs. I don't like the 49ers at all. So
I wonder.
You had mentioned before the show you're an Odell fan, so wherever Odell plays, you're a big fan of, right? Yeah.
big fan of
Cool. I was going for the Lions just because it would have been. I feel like the Lions was who the America was really.
I think
If the Lions win the
everyone
Super
wanted
Bowl-
Ravens Lions.
If the Lions win the Super Bowl, I would have rooted for the Lions, but
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, well, going back then, what's your way too early World Series prediction?
got to go to the Yankees.
Okay.
I can see them doing it this year. I don't know why.
Hey, man, they got Soto, so
Yeah, they
Got
got
Juan
Soto.
Soto.
They're-
You go Juan Soto.
Hopefully they'll sign Blake Snell or Cody Bellinger in the next month or so. So we'll see.
So that's the AL. Who's getting in from the NL?
no. I mean, he meant to say the Yankees are winning it all, bro.
They're winning the whole dang thing.
The whole dang thing, the Yankees. But NL, I mean, the Dodgers just got the super team, so might as well go them.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, at this point,
At this point, just give it some. Just give the ring to them.
next decade, just say the Dodgers.
Feels like it, yeah. So, alrighty then. Again, Jeff, thanks for spending some time with us on episode 50. And we always ask this to every guest we have on the show. But if you have anything you'd like to say to your teammates, fans, alumni, just anyone who's watching about this upcoming baseball season, the floor is yours.
I mean, I'm Jeff Liquori and play baseball here at FIU, and whoever's watching, thanks for watching, and Paws Up.
There we go.
And
know,
very
Sounds
we
like
do
a
ask this to every
football
player.
intro, you know?
We do ask this to every athlete, and we forgot to do it. Who
Oh.
should be the next baseball player that we bring on this podcast?
Try not to say.
So we've
Owen
had
Buck.
Rylan, we've had Guida, we've had Keyshawn,
We need a pitcher.
and we've
Good.
had Logan Bundy.
Logan Rundy. I think we need another pitcher.
A pitcher. Bring on Owen Puck.
Ooh.
Everyone says fuck.
And
got
if
it.
it's a hitter, bring on Austin Deering. There you go.
80.
I like that one.
80.
We'll do Deering, and then we'll do Puck as well at some point.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll
I feel like
definitely.
Puck's inevitable at this point with all the players that say
Yeah,
Puck.
man. Everyone says Puck, but
Yeah, he'll make it a comedy show. So
Puck, if you're watching, I mean, hit us up, bro. I mean,
yeah, man.
we got the
Alright.
SID here, so we'll make it happen.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we'll wrap it up here. Jeff, again, thank you so much for hopping on. we're very excited that we're able to get to do this. FIU taking on LIU February 16th. I believe is at 7
It'll be
p.m.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So make sure to go out there and support the Panthers. So from Jake, Johnny, Jeff, and myself, we'll see you guys all. We're going to take a break for the Super Bowl, and we'll be back in, I want to say, 2 weeks. So peace out. And as always, Paws Up.
For the 50th time, Paws Up.
Paws Up, baby.